Welcome to Bigfoot Odyssey Storytime. This first story is written as it was told to me by a man from North Mississippi. Hope you enjoy. It's not often that I'd go out of the house late, but this night I had no choice. I was out of cigarettes and had no plans on nicking out all night. I had been sitting at the bar drawing plans for work. I am an electrical engineer, and late nights at the bar drawing is the norm for me. When I headed out the door, I noticed the dogs weren't around. Irish wolfhounds are big, but my two like to lay under my truck, so I'm always checking so they don't get run over. I didn't see them anywhere. I figured they must be off being dogs and didn't think much of it. I live on the edge of a small town with 600 acres of thick pine forest out my back door. Several creeks run through there, and there's always some animal close to the house for the dogs to run off or get sprayed by. I didn't see anything as I got into my truck, and I headed to the service station to stock up on smokes for the week. My driveway is long, about a third of a mile to the road, with a wood fence running down either side. I was driving back toward the house from my cig run when I first saw it. I didn't know exactly what I had seen, but it was big and black, and it ran in front of my truck just far enough that I could only make out that it was big and black. My first thought was bear, because of the size, and it was running on all fours. The only problem is, bears of any kind just aren't seen in this part of Mississippi, unless it had escaped from a zoo somewhere or was just way out of place and lost. After scratching my head and driving the other 100 yards to the house, the thought of a bear in the area weighed heavy on me. I got out of the truck and started up to the house. When I got to the steps, I could hear my dogs whimpering under the porch. I had never seen them act this way, as they were usually the boss of the yard. I thought they must have seen the bear and thought better of trying to boss it out of the yard. Before I could get the door open, the dogs were out from under the porch and inside, almost knocking me down to get in. I shut the door and peeked out the window. A floodlight on the side of the house dimly lit the front yard, just enough that I could see if anything was around. I saw nothing and proceeded to round up the dogs to stash them in the garage till morning. If a bear was around, I wasn't putting them back out for the night. I got them settled after a long dragging match just to get them out the kitchen door. It's time for a smoke, I said to myself. Never smoking in the house, I headed to the front porch to light up and get my fix before another long night at the bar. I opened the front door, and the most awful smell hit me right in the face. It was strong and smelled like 7-day-old urine and horrible body odor. I scanned the yard and tree line to see if I could spot the culprit, but didn't see anything. I kept a 12-gauge automatic by the door, loaded up with double-aught buckshot for intruders or whatever might try to get in. I reached inside and grabbed the gun, leaving the door open as I pulled on my cigarette and continued scanning left to right. I noticed what looked like a tall, dark figure against the corner of the house to my right, about 30 feet away, but it was just dark enough that it could have just been a shadow and my mind playing tricks. What could be that big and tall anyway, I thought. Still, I squinted as much as I could to try and see if it was anything at all when I heard a loud pop come from behind my truck to the left. I took a step forward with my 12-gauge at the ready and scoured the area, but saw nothing. About halfway through my cigarette, I looked back over to the shadow at the corner of the house. It was gone. A chill ran down my spine. A cold sweat soaked my brow as the worst feeling of dread came over me. I've never been one for the paranormal. I always thought ghosts and Bigfoot are just strong imaginations and people scaring themselves. The feeling I was experiencing was new and strong, but still rational thought and skepticism took over, so my false sense of security could reign once again. And then it screamed. I froze in place while this ungodly sound permeated my soul. It was a loud, high-pitched roar. I never heard anything like it. I felt it in my spine. The dogs were scratching at the kitchen door, whining desperately to get in the house. I broke free from my paralysis and headed for the kitchen door to let them in when the first hit happened. Boom! The house shook like a truck had slammed into it. I hurried to let the dogs in. Another scream, this time louder and longer and coming from the front porch. Boom, boom, 2 more hits. Pictures and paintings were falling off the wall. Another scream from the back of the house and another hit. Boom! I realized then there was more than one, and they were very upset. I sat in the hall in the center of the house, soaked in fear, clenching my 12-gauge with two huge Irish wolfhounds cowering behind me. I knew for sure there were at least three. They would run across the roof of the house, stomping so hard I just knew they were destroying my roof. The screams and hits continued for several hours, and then they just stopped. I'm not sure when I fell asleep, but I never moved from my position in the hall. Neither did the dogs. I awakened around 10:30 the next morning. My mouth felt like cotton. My body ached, stove up from the tension of fear. The dogs were sitting by the front door, waiting to be let out. I knew the attackers were gone. I walked out on the porch, still holding my gun. I made my way around the house, the bright sunlight revealing the damage that my house had sustained. I had that place built 6 years earlier. It was a half-brick, half-cedar dream home with a porch that wrapped around the front and one side. 6 feet of the brick ledge by the back bathroom was on the ground. The cedar planks above it were pushed in and split all the way to the roof. What looked like footprints, 18 to 20-inch impressions, permeated the ground all around, and handprints the size of dinner plates dotted the cedar siding. Every corner of the house was damaged. Azalea bushes were pulled out of the ground and thrown on the roof. Shingles were scattered all over the yard, and even some on my truck. Whatever did this was not playing, and I had no doubt that if they wanted in, it would have been as easy as breaking into a paper bag. I packed up and moved to a hotel that day. I've since repaired the house, claiming vandalism on my insurance, and sold it to an older couple a few months later. Several families wanted it, but I just couldn't bring myself to sell it to anyone with kids. For whatever reason those creatures decided to attack that night, I couldn't bear the thought of children living through that horror. I did tell the couple that bought the house of the incident, but they didn't seem to care much. I'm not sure they even believed me. It's been 5 years now, and the thought of that night still rushes upon me from time to time. I used to drive by the house now and then to see if the couple was still there. They were. I now live in the city. I have a wife and a 3-year-old boy. I now research Sasquatch from the confines of our condo, as I'm convinced that's what attacked the house that night. I haven't been back in the woods, not sure I ever will, but no doubt that night will haunt me for the rest of my life. Wow, what a story. What do you take from something like that? Me? I think they were after the dogs. Hope you enjoyed that.